Welcome to a short reflection on Epiphany of our Lord. Dear friends, Christ our light has come into the world and shines in the darkness. On this feast of Epiphany, He manifests Himself to us in a unique way. The feast of the Epiphany is the mystery of the Lord's manifestation to all people, represented by the Magi, who came from the east to adore the King of the Jews. The word Epiphany comes from Greek meaning a manifestation. Today we celebrate the feast of the coming of the Magi in search of the newly born King and God revealing Himself to the universe to a group essentially non-Jewish. The Magi were strangers, foreigners, total outsiders who came to pay royal homage to this tiny child. The Gospel today tells us about the wise men from the east who followed a star in search of the newborn King of the Jews. When they find Him, they worship Him and pay Him homage as they offer Him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In the first reading from the book of Isaiah speaks of a prophecy that was made approximately 700 years prior to the birth of Christ, expresses the joy of the Israelites as they returned after years of captivity and entered the holy city Jerusalem. The prophecy of Isaiah gave them hope that the promised Messiah would soon rise among the people and that His glory would be seen by all. As God's chosen people, it was prophesied to the Jewish nation that they would be the light of the world and that the nations of the world would come to their light. At last, Jerusalem has achieved its ideal as a city of light. The second reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians of the commission of God's grace that was given for them and how the mystery was made known to Him by revelation. St. Paul tells them that God's revelation is universal and sees himself as the steward of God's grace. The mystery he received by revelation he used to hand on to others. St. Paul considered this as a great grace. The Gospel reading relates to us the event of the three wise men that followed the star that led them to the child Jesus. They followed the brilliant star in the sky. To them, the light of the star was a symbol of hope, of joy, and of peace. St. Matthew tells us that the Magi or the wise men found Jesus by following a star, which thus traditionally known as the Star of Bethlehem, and accepted the interpretation of the star and followed it to discover the King they were seeing. On finding Him, without hesitation or doubt, they pay their homage and present Him three symbolic gifts, namely gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The three gifts had a spiritual meaning: gold as a symbol of kingship on earth, frankincense or incense as a symbol of priesthood, and myrrh, the embalming oil, as a symbol of death. This story points to the future of Jesus. All in all, today's feast is telling us that for God there are no foreigners, no outsiders. There is no room for discrimination of any kind based on the nationality, race, religion, class or occupation, etc. The story tells us that God, in the person of Jesus, is reaching out to the whole world. And these pagan foreigners went to great lengths to find the King of the Jews and do Him homage. We can learn much from the manifestation of God to the three wise men. They were the pilgrims in search of the divine, and their joy was immense when they made the discovery. Their faith was childlike and deeply religious. They had a specific purpose in mind and they went in a particular direction. They followed the star and they encountered God. It tells us that we too have to search for our God and cannot rest till we find Him. Finally, my dear friends, the Feast of Epiphany is a reflection of the light. Through the birth of Jesus, we see the arrival of the light in the world. The three wise men followed the brilliant star in the sky. To them, the light of the star was a symbol of hope and of joy and of peace. To them, the star was but a small reflection and the fullness of light of the world that awaited them at the end of their journey. Through the Magi, we see the light of hope, of joy, and of peace to come. Through the baptism of Jesus, we see the beginning of the ministry of the light in the world. Through the miracle at Cana, we see the light of God manifesting His supreme power over the element of water. All these events are reminders to us that we too are called to be a light in the world. Wishing you all a very happy feast of Epiphany.